now, someone who should have their own show, a friend of this programme. When we started out doing this at the start of the year, we thought, look, we want to get you involved.
Yeah.
You who are watching, you who are listening. And one of the people who got in touch with us, and we've returned to again and again, is a lady who lives nearby here in Wimslow. And we thought, well, we're in Manchester, she's in Wimslow. Where are you? What are you correcting me for?
Sandbach.
She's in Sandbach. Why are you lying and telling us you're from Wimslow for, which is posh? Well, somebody's messed up there. Anyway, she's Sue Ashcombe-Hurt. She is amazing. She's in Sandbach, and if you go up the M6, you'll see the signposts for that. And we thought, look, instead of talking to her in the Zoom, we're going to get her here in the studio. So it's lovely to see you for the first time in the flesh.
Lovely to meet you both.
Well, and Sue's great because she provides a sort of running commentary on the whole cost of living crisis, and she's come out today to warm up. She's joining us here in this studio because you've told us about how you can't afford to turn on the heat and whatever. You're one of the working, stressed out, well, I was going to say poor, but I mean you're under pressure. You have a job, and here we get the national insurance hike from today. So she's a real GBNews viewer and listener. What do you think about this insurance hike today?
Totally the wrong thing to do. If you want to, expand your income for the Treasury, you don't raise taxes, you lower them. If you want to get more jobs in the economy, you don't raise taxes, you lower them. Yeah. This is going to stop employers employing people for jobs.
And how? Go on.
Because it just makes it far more expensive for them.
Now, do you work for yourself? Am I right? And yeah. I think I remember that you work for yourself. So how will this impact you directly? And from today, are you making changes to your lifestyle as a result of this?
It's not going to affect me, Isabel, because he's not going to get a penny off me. Because I know I've worked with finance all my life. So I know how much I can earn without paying any national insurance at my age, and that's what I'm going to do.
She's a bookkeeper, you see, she knows finance, she knows the figures, which is what a lot of other people obviously don't know, but you have to impose that restriction on yourself. It's just the way I look at it is, I mean, there's no doubt the NHS and social care is in a terrible state. And when you think of all the people who've been diagnosed, say at the start of the year with cancer, but still haven't had consultations and operations that they need, if for once politicians mean what they say, this could be good for everybody.
Well, I disagree, because I watched a programme on BBC about fraud. And she starts the programme every day with £40 billion every year is lost from the public purse through fraud. Now, if they actually tightened up on the way civil servants work, and if they tightened up on the way the processes are for claiming benefits, and they only saved half of that, they'd have more than the £12 billion they're trying to raise from this tax. And I bet you bottom dollar that they won't raise £12 billion from it.
You're a lifelong Tory, I remember. We've got Sajid Javid on this morning. And what would your message be to him about this? Of course, this isn't his policy. He's having to defend something that Rishi Sunak and the Prime Minister have...
He is saying this is going to solve all the problems.
He is defending it, and he's being, he's on the payroll, he's in the government, he has to defend their policy. What would you say to him? What would your message be to government?
I say, get a backbone and start reforming the NHS. It is not fit for purpose. I've had to deal with it. To be fair, I haven't had to deal with the NHS very much until this last year, because I've always been healthy, and I've got something I can't really control myself, so I've had to go to the doctors. But on the whole, my interaction when my mum was ill was really good. It's the people at the front line are brilliant. But when I sit there waiting for my mum and I see how many people are wandering around, how many people have got, a file in the hand and don't seem to be doing anything, the number of receptionists and things, they could cut down a hell of a lot of money by just reforming it, and ask the people who work there how to reform it, not sit upstairs and do it themselves.
Do you think there is an appetite for that, though? Because politicians, the criticism of politicians and the NHS is that they're too short-term, right? They're thinking about re-election, and that's why we're seeing, as Liam was suggesting, perhaps a cynical ploy from them by reducing taxes again just before the next election. But will anyone ever tackle the NHS? Because it is seen as a sacred cow in this country.
Yeah. Well, you know, somebody's got to get the backbone, haven't they? I mean, Andrew Lansley had a go, but it wasn't really very brilliant. And I think they've got to stop inferring that, you know, it's going to be private. Every time you mention changing the NHS, it's privatisation, privatisation, privatisation. Personally, I don't care what they do if it is partly privatised, in that as long as the service is free at the point of use.
Yes.
I'm not bothered how it gets there.
You see, you're fascinating. That's why I love talking to you and people like you. You're incredibly well informed, and by your own admission, you would be an ordinary person, and you make yourself well briefed on everything that goes on. Therefore, that entitles you to an opinion, and it's an educated opinion, and it may not be one that everybody will find palatable, but and you've lived a life, Sue. You've lived a life, and I think you have the right to be able to comment on what's ahead. But I'd say to you, are you not worried as you get into your older years that social care and what they're trying to fund, particularly in the NHS, you're going to require more and more use of it?
I don't think I'm going to require more and more use of it, because most of what I've got is something that can be had by people of all ages. It's not an elderly person's illness, you know. I've got a problem called trigeminal neuralgia, which is really horrible pains across your face. So that can come whether you're 20, 50 or 70. Otherwise, I've never been to the NHS before that. When I got that, I couldn't cope with it on my own, so obviously I had to go to the doctor.
So you're the sort of person that's very self-sufficient. You look after yourself. You're not expecting the state to look after you, and that puts you in a responsible position. Yeah,
well, that's what Tories are supposed to be. Tories' philosophy is supposed to be self-reliance, you know, fairness, low taxes, but this government is not doing any of that. Right. I wish they would take me on as an advisor.
We're going to take you on as an advisor. We think you'd be good sitting here. So tell me this. So here we are, and as the sun comes up here in Manchester, and you live in the Cheshire area in Sandbach. What about Manchester? Is it somewhere you visit? Is it somewhere you've seen, certainly over the last 30 years, this skyline has completely changed?
I don't come up to Manchester. I don't really go anywhere very often much now. I used to come up.
Did you go out today?
Yeah, I come out today because you asked me to.
Get Sue up here today. I said, we won't go to, we'll get her out.
Get her out the house.
Save her heating bill.
Well, I'm not using any heating at the moment. I'm sitting without heating. I used to come up here quite often because I was a rare bird as well when I was younger. I was a Tory union representative.
Right. That is a rare bird, isn't it?
Well, in my union there was two of us, me and the chairman of our committee. And I was told at one time I couldn't be a Tory because I cared about people. Yeah. Because I did 11 years helping women who have suffered domestic abuse. I was treasurer of a refuge for years. And I was told by one of their staff that I can't be a Tory because I care too much about people, which is nonsense, you know. So
what would you say in defence of caring Conservatives? Because I think we have met quite a lot this week. People who say we resent being termed primitive, prehistoric, racist, whatever. We care like everybody else, but there's some things that are just a line you don't want to cross, and they don't like being force-fed a news or an agenda they think they're getting from other channels, and they just don't feel their voice is being heard.
Well, I think certainly you've only got to watch Newswatch for the BBC, for instance. People complain there, and every time somebody from the editorial staff come on, they're just ignorant. You know, they just make excuses and say, we are right, you're wrong, don't bother. Basically, don't bother writing to us. Well, at least GBNews listens to its viewers. And, you know, and it does stuff. It's like when everybody wanted the national anthem. You've done it. None of the others have bothered to do it.
Does that make you feel good in the morning?
Yeah, well, I like our Queen, I like the royal family, and, you know, I like the national anthem.
What else would you like us to do? We've got you here. Give
Our
us your top
consultant,
tips.
our advisor.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I do think is sometimes when I watch Dan at night and Mark, and I think the debates are a bit too short. I'd like to see the debates a bit longer. You know,
let things breathe. We definitely do strive to do that, don't we? We're doing that now with you, letting it go a bit longer than the producers want us to.
But you're what it's about. Without you and without people like you, the station wouldn't be on air.
Yeah.
So that is the great thing. And I thank you, Sue, for making the journey today.
Stay for a bit, will you? And maybe we'll get you back on when the Health Secretary's on, and we can all have a chat, and hopefully we'll get you a cup of coffee and have a nice morning of it.
It is a great privilege for us to meet you. I know we talked to you.
It's a great privilege for me to meet you, Eamonn and Isabel.
Look at that. See, look, just amazing. She is our viewer. She's Sue Ashcombe-Hurt, and she's from Sandbach in Cheshire. And thank you very much indeed for all your views. Thank you.